Hi, everybody. Mark Cabot is here with the Jubilate Music Group and a product focus video for you on our YouTube channel. And with me today is Ted Wilson. Welcome, Ted.
Hey, Mark.
Oh, it's so good
to be with you.
Oh, thank you, Ted. It's great to see you. And listen, everybody, honestly, I could talk, and Ted knows this, about an hour about how Ted and I go way back to 1989 when I first moved to Nashville to get in the music business, and when I'd gotten a job with Brentwood Music. We'll talk about Brentwood just a little bit during our video product focus here today. But Ted has been, and always has been, and certainly was in the early days, very helpful to me in helping me kind of matriculate into the Nashville music community. So Ted, thank you. And Ted and I have worked on just many projects together. You've seen our names on projects together, certainly some children's musicals we did back in the day.
Yeah.
And many more things. So again, it is a joy to have Ted Wilson with us on this product focus. And Ted, we are here because we are going to talk about Sunday Swings, the new jazz quartet instrumental arrangements you have done for us. And I will let everyone know that really this kind of came about because, first of all, when we do reach back to the Brentwood Music days, and that's just what it was called, Brentwood Music, they had a series of jazz projects that Ted and I remember very well. Ted participated in many of those projects. And so we learned back in those days that the Brentwood Jazz Quartet and those kind of things, that the word jazz is not a scary one to churches, and nor should it be. And so Ted got a great jazz background. I was a trumpet major and played in the jazz band and all that stuff through college and some in high school. And so that's number one. And number two, because I had learned that, I knew that about the jazz not being a scary word for churches, that I released some anthems with Jubilate Music Group. Craig Curry has arranged some of them. Others, Ted's done some work for us. And we've got jazz, sanctus, and things like that. They've sold very well. So again, that proved to me that even the choral side, let alone the instrumental side, that jazz can be a great, refreshing thing in the context of traditional or contemporary worship. And so along comes Ted and tells me somewhere along the way, it's probably 3 years ago, Ted, that you were doing at that time some jazz vespers services at your Christ Lutheran Church, where you're the music director there. Talk about those services, Ted, and just briefly how those came about.
Well, the pastor, we had been trying various formats for an evening service. It had been a midweek service for a couple of the things we tried were midweek services, but she knew of my background in jazz. I was involved with the Nashville Jazz Orchestra. And so she had the idea of, let's try to do a jazz vesper service. And so I thought this is great. This would be a great opportunity to try to build a library, just see how far I could go building a library. And so we did our service was basically it was 6 pieces. We would have 4 scriptures, and it would just be reading the scriptures and expounding on them, and then doing a song that related to each particular scripture, and we'd have a prelude and a postlude, and so it was six tunes every month, and so I decided, well, I'm going to spend the first year. I'm going to do 6 new pieces every month, and
wow.
And just try to build a library. And I was able to do that. And so when I called you, I'd kind of been thinking about for a while, about the marketability, and just to see what you thought about that. And when you came, you were really positive and everything, and it was really affirming, that you thought so, because you're the expert, you're a marketing whiz.
Oh. Well, you're very kind.
And but the business. You know this business very, very well. This market. And so anyway, but the idea of the thing was to just not be bound necessarily by the mood of the music of the particular of each hymn. I didn't. Many of the hymns that are kind of slower ended up being, like kind of up Latin, or kind of medium to up swing, to fast swing. But I did try to honor the text on each one, and not be, because you can easily get into it's pretty easy to get to a place where if you're not paying attention, you kind of make a parody, it gets a parody, so
Right.
so that was very important. And I feel like in the comments that we would get were that they people really, really liked that, it gave a new meaning to the text for them. And but they were able to follow along in the hymnal, and
That's
and
perfect.
and read the text while we play, because it's all instrumental.
Right,
And
exactly. Well, that's a great story, Ted. I love that story. And let me say too, again, you're very gracious and you're talking about my experience with the market and everything. But of course, I took this to my editorial team, and then I reached out because, again, I have a background, as I said, in jazz, but still not like you. And I wanted second opinions as well. And I went to other jazz experts because we want neutral people. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up from all the jazz experts I went to and shared the charts with. And I wasn't surprised because that was my hunch and my feel. And so what we also as a team, and as those whom I shared these arrangements of yours with, said they're doable. And you'll remember, of course, you still have a vast library of these arrangements you did for your Jazz Vesper services.
Mhm.
We very carefully procured the arrangements from that library that we feel are very doable by as wide a market as possible. And also, at the same token, there are a few I think there are 10 tunes in the collection.
Yes.
As I remember, yeah. So there are a few in the 10 that are a little more challenging, and that's good, but they're still very doable. And then most of them are middle of the road doable, and they're flexible. I heard this a lot, and I saw that myself, is that you can have a soprano sax, you can have other lead instruments playing that melody, or you can mix and match, can't you?
Yeah, you sure can. I mean, it's basically a rhythm part and then a solo part in different keys. So, if you have a couple of horn players, they can swap off on the melody, and then maybe play together part of it, they can, and then of course everybody gets a chance to solo if that's what you want to do. And that's what we did. We would just go all the way around. Everybody would take at least a couple of choruses, maybe, and more, if the form was a little shorter. But yeah, you can, any combination of instruments would be fine. It's melody only. And if you have somebody with a good enough ear, they can harmonize, and or whatever. It's just really, it's meant to be flexible. I mean, you can have guitar player in the rhythm section, percussion, add a percussionist, if you have somebody who's really talented. And
Absolutely. That's great. I mean, that's great bread and butter advice. And I will say to our viewers that in the CD-ROM, this is a reproducible CD-ROM that you purchase. We're also going to make it, if not already, downloadable. So they're going to be downloadable. You can buy it as a download or as a physical CD-ROM. But on the product, Ted has written guides and some suggestions, as I remember, kind of a here's how this works kind of thing. Yeah. So that one of the main things we want to accomplish, though, viewers, with this video here today is to to take any possible fear you have out of trying something that could be new to your church or new to your school. I think Christian schools could find this is very advantageous and useful. Certainly churches and those kind of, lots of wide audiences can find it. But again, what I say is, you as the church music leader may not have a jazz pianist or someone who
Right.
can pull off these charts in your ranks. And if not, that's okay. This is a perfect outreach tool to go and find someone in your local community college or college or university or high school who's a really good player. You listen to the demos that Ted did that are above this video that you see, or when you click on this video on our YouTube channel, you will see a digital reading session for this product for Sunday Swings. You'll hear Ted's wonderful demos that he made for several of the tunes, and that gives you a real good sense of the style and the tempo and everything. A picture's worth 1,000 words, a demo's worth 1,000 words too. And so Ted has created these wonderful samples that you can play to your players, and they can hear it, and boom, they'll get it. But again, I think the beautiful thing about this project is, and this is another reason, Ted, I'm honored to be the publisher of this work, is that it's surprising. I think worship has to be a mixture of ritual and tradition and worship, and some surprises every now and then that doesn't, that does surprise and offer some fresh things, and certainly a jazz quartet playing on Sunday morning, or Sunday night, or even your own jazz vesper service that you might do. I think that could be a great thing, like Ted was describing earlier in our product focus video here, how they use the scriptures and match those with some of these arrangements. All of that, I think, again, is an exciting thing that you can bring to your group, either through at a school setting, certainly a church setting, and it's a surprise and outreach, as I'm saying. What do you think about all that, Ted? You want to add something?
I think that's great. And the only thing I would add is if you have a singer in your church who's a good, talented jazz singer who can read music fairly well, they could actually sing the hymns, and either in place of or along with a solo instrument.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I love that.
We've adapted though. They adapt very well for the most part to congregational singing, or with as long as you have the melody, or have somebody leading the singing.
Absolutely. That's great. That's exciting. And by the way, all again to our viewers, we have sample pages on the website as well as on the digital reading session. You'll see the sample pages. So you'll see the charts and how they're laid out so that they're very easy to follow and all of that. Ted, listen, I am so excited about Sunday Swings, and we're excited to be putting it out there for people and to offer as just a fresh choice for worship and concerts and all kinds of things.
Well, thank you, Mark. It's an honor to be published by you. And
oh, thank you.
It really is. It's been a dream of mine. Almost from the beginning, and it's wonderful that you've been willing to take it up, and it's also wonderful that you're the one doing it.
Oh, Ted, again, you're
somebody
very kind.
Who understands, like I said, the market, and is a really good musician.
Thank you, Ted. Well, I'll tell you, thank you, and I will never forget. I'll tell you guys one more story, and then we're going to let you go. But the early days, back to the early days, I would walk into Ted's home studio, and he was surrounded, and still is, with just unbelievable amounts of gear. I remember the very first musical that's hanging on my wall here in my office at Jubilate Music Group. It's been hanging on every wall every office I've had since I've been in the music business. Song of Bethlehem, and that Christmas cantata that I first one I ever published, with Ted doing the arrangements and the sequencing, and I'll never forget hearing the first sequence you did, Ted, and it just knocked my socks off. And I'll never forget that moment. That was one of those kind of never forget moments where I thought, I am in the big leagues now. I mean, I remember thinking that. I thought, wow, this is unbelievable. And so So Ted, we are thrilled to be working with you, and I say I want there to be lots more of Ted Wilson in our catalog, and we want to work towards that as well.
I would love that.
That's great, Ted.
Thank
Thank you
John.
again for your time, and thanks for sharing these wonderful Sunday swings with us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you for listening to this product focus on Sunday swings.